Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm Catherine Hult, the marketing manager at Fullcast, and we're here with Dharmesh Singh. And today we're going to be talking about target setting and how you can do that in the Fullcast platform. So the first thing we're going to cover on our agenda, it's only going to be about a half-hour webinar, so pretty short and sweet, but if you have questions throughout, feel free to post those in the Q&A box. And we also have a chat feature, so if you'd like to share any feedback or specific ideas about how you guys are doing target setting at your companies, feel free to utilize that. That'll go to all participants. So for today's agenda, we're just going to start by talking about the two methods of target setting, tops down and bottoms up. And Dharmesh will kind of go through the pros and cons of each of those, and then talk about how those two ways kind of create gaps in your target setting. And then that'll lead us into the demo of our platform. So we'll show you how we approach target setting in Fullcast app. And then we'll end with some extra time for Q&A. So if you have remaining questions either about our software or about how doing target setting at your company, feel free to ask. And we'll conclude with that. And we're really excited to have Dharmesh here today. So we'll let you jump in.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you all for taking the time for the next 30 minutes or so. Target setting is pretty detailed, in-depth, so 30 minutes may not do full justice to everything else, but happy to have a discussion with folks interested in diving into this later. I had a chance to take a look at the background of most of you. Most of the people who registered actually have a lot of experience, it seems, in target setting itself. So this may be a refresher for them. But essentially, there are two ways of driving target setting, right? We have a tops-down approach of driving target setting, or a bottoms-up approach. Most people somehow I've seen revert to a tops-down approach. So what would be really interesting to understand from the folks here in the room and the webinar is what's your preferences, tops-down or bottom-up, or it's a combination of both. But essentially what you've seen is that companies like an alignment between both, right? You desire to have a number that's rolled out to the field, and then being, in an ideal world, being able to get that feedback from the field and rolling it back up so that we can all make a very informed decisions. The challenge over there is that the tools that are currently available are very limited to sort of align the two worlds together, right? And as a result, what we see is a gap between the target setting itself and the quota alignment that the reps are carrying in the field. One of the things that we kind of consciously made an attempt to call this target setting versus quota setting, because for us as a platform, it's broader than just quota setting. Quota setting for us is one of the targets, but you can essentially set targets for anything that you want to measure. You could have targets for reps, that is quota. You could have activity targets for sales engineers. You could have targets for customer success. Essentially, anybody in the go-to-market role should have a target assigned to them. And idea here is that we want to create a platform that allows us to both do tops-down and bottom-up, right? Managing these two is essentially what we call as the bane of sales ops, right? Our charter in sales ops is we get the number from the leadership, and we're supposed to spread that number over into the field, and yet keep the field aligned with the number that they are getting and get their input back to the leadership team. Keeping both parties aligned, it sometimes feels like being in the UN forever, right? And so typically the tops-down target setting is pretty straightforward. Senior executives, we determine our growth number for next year, to grow 10x. We will understand how this company will support the sales targets. We bring in a bunch of people into the room, and with the leadership and the RVPs, we start collaborating with them how to spread the number across their geographies or territories. We generally have a historical reference point of what we've done in the past years, and we use that to put some growth assumptions. And what you really want to do is you want to give a fair opportunity for the team. And so, we try to balance in multiple different ways. Most commonly being, let's have at least a good balance of current customers versus prospect for the reps to meet the targets, right? And you could have pretty complicated balancing as well by segments and all. But at a higher level, these are some of the things that happen, and they look pretty straightforward, but they take a lot of time. We've seen historically when you're at Salesforce or you're at Microsoft, this process would take 4 to 5 months, largely being done in Excel, multiple versions of Excel being sent back and forth between teams, and really having that source of truth being spread across the organization. And again, this was done mostly just for sales team and sales quotas, right? And we really didn't have the time to factor in the rest of the team organizations. Bottom up works like bottom up, the name indicates, right? We get the target from the senior leadership. We do involve the sales leadership, and we start getting input from each of the region, right? And so the region now will give their inputs as it relates to seasonality, their own assumptions, and what they think they can make in the number, and what capacity they have, right? And what we really want to see is what's our current capacity. What if you ask me to pick a number that doubles my quota for next year, I will tell you either I need more customers or I need additional headcount. And all that data has to be rolled back up, right? So this is a little more complicated process, but generally it's a little more accurate because you're getting feed input as well, and you can really make sure that the field is signing up for the number that they're going to carry. Ideally, you want top down and bottom up combined, so you can actually see the delta between the two, and make that decision. And so when you're a small company, it is pretty easy to do because you can actually carve territories or reach out to the reps and ask them the number. But as the company scale, we start adding more dimensions, right? We will have a different model by segment. My SMB segment could have a different model. Could only have a tops down number. My enterprise could have both a combination of tops down and bottoms up. Right, so we can have lots of different dimensions in how we create targets, how do we balance those territories. And the gap is because when we don't have full insight at a granular level, right, with respect to what's my current capacity in the field, and capacity meaning my fully ramped capacity, and how many have to be hired yet, how many have to be replaced, how many people are carrying quota that are not in their roles right now. All those things are areas of concern, right? If it's only tops down, the field feels less empowered because they are not considered when determining targets. And as a whole, as a company, we have a risk of making inaccurate predictions, right? Either we overperform or underperform. Both those things give some sort of anxiety to the finance team, right? I've heard so many times the finance people saying, yeah, we had a great quarter. I don't know where they pulled this number out from in the last minute. I wish we had more visibility and insight into what was happening and which of these deals are coming. So that's the problem. As we solve for it, we'll jump into the demo, but happy to take any questions around how you do it today, and if there are any gaps in the process. Like I said, the target setting process itself is pretty involved, and so the process is complicated. 20 minutes will be just going really quickly in how you would do that in the Fullcast platform. So I'm going to switch screens here and get out of the PowerPoint. So essentially, there are three ways for us to do target setting, right? And when we think about target setting, uh, companies are either setting a target and assigning it to a territory. A lot of times they are assigning a target to an individual rep or a team or a person. And sometimes you have targets when we think about a product, right? So each product category may have its own target. So you could pick the right module for setting up the targets, right? So if you are assigning targets to a territory, right, and you would use a territory design module and you'll assign the target on that territory. And then what you would do is you would assign people to that territory. But essentially, the idea here is that the target is carried by the territory. People are cogs, they'll go in and out. And so you have a one-to-many relationship within that territory itself, right? And so you want to assign at a territory level. A lot of times, teams opt to assign targets to a role, a person, and the person carries the target. In that case, you would do a team. You would use a team module, and you'll set up targets using the team module itself. And if you are doing targets to a product team or a product itself, you will set up product targets. They all work identically, and we'll see at least the targets and territory and the team. And if we have time, we'll also touch on the product to show how it works. But essentially, we will jump into the set targets node. And I'm jumping into the set targets node in the territory module. So the idea here is you're assigning a target to a territory. And like I said earlier, the target could be anything, right? In this case, we've got a target set up for quota, but it could be a target for an activity, a target for anything that we want to measure, right? And you can assign different groups of targets. So this is the revenue group target assigned. Is revenue group target, which is quota target, assigned to an account executive, right? And right now we are seeing this number being refreshed at an all company level. As I will troll down my hierarchy, so I could have my entire business broken down at the highest level at the growth and hunter model, right? And so what it'll show is a couple of things. It'll show me that this is how I'm performing against the quota target, and it is an inherited target, which means it was done at a level higher than me, and I have been assigned this target, right? I can troll down to the hunter model, and I'll see the target and how I'm performing against the target within on the quota object for the hunter team, and within that I have different geos and geographies, and I can actually continue to go as granular as I want. In all cases, it's an inherited number. At a snapshot, I see my performance against that target itself, right? How I'm doing year-to-date actuals, how much of my completion rate looks like, and how far off off target or on target I am. In this case, I'm seen to be in the United States, blowing the target away, right? You could add a target, and this could be a target, could have any name, and we could add a target for, say, the customer success team, right? And this could be for customer success reps. I can have a scalar target or a time series target. I can say for customer success, I'm putting a churn percentage as a number, as a target that I want to look at for fiscal year FY19, and it's been assigned to a customer success rep, right? There are overlay resources. I can put them in overlay, and I create a new group called customer success out here. And this is a target I'm setting at the United States level, which means it's for someone I'm doing it for customer success reps in the United States. When I set up the target, I will not see it into the growth segments or the nodes above me, because they are the nodes higher than me. I can set up a goal, and I can say my churn percentage is going to be 10% is my number, and I can calculate that. I can choose to give some distribution, and I can either say I want to distribute this number to the nodes under me in the United States. I can choose to give them equally, or I can give it based on a field, and I can pick the number as a churn percentage. for fiscal year 19. Let's just say that's the churn amount, churn percentage. And I have no nodes under the United States node, so it will not get distributed to anybody below that node, right? But if I had a node, it would give me the value of how I'm going to distribute. So you can essentially set up any kind of target that you want, and you can set goals on the target. You can use formula fields. I can say, look at the churn percentage out here, and it's going to be for fiscal year 19. And I can put the node that I was going to give it at the United States, confirm, or I think it's already got, we've already put the field over there, right? So any metric that I want to measure, I can set targets against that metric, right? In this case, right now, I've already set up the metric. I can actually go up at an all company level, and I can see that this metric was a quota metric. I can look at how it's been set up. And what I do see for the first time is I gave this number out, and I distributed down to my team. I see both my tops down versus the bottoms up number rolling up in one place, right? So the idea here is that in the territory module, anybody who's been assigned to the territory, whether growth or hunter model, will get this target when I roll it down, and they will be able to give me input back into the number, which means no more Excel spreadsheets going back and forth. We're all collaborating out of a single number right here, and all of us have visibility, right? All the people involved in planning. So I can actually look at my target. My target was say 13 million or 8 and in January 19 and 8 in February. And there's a variance over there in my bottoms up number. So I can actually scroll down and take a look at how the variance is coming up. And I can drill into that variance itself, right? So I can look at the details here of the number of how the variance has come in. Look at the goal. This was assigned to the account executive, as we know. We can see the goal that was $95 million for the full year. I can look at the revenue seasonality that I had put up in the beginning, right? So this is how I built up my schedule. I can customize my own seasonality out here. I can actually, it's already got a schedule out there, but I can adjust the schedule. Right, so I can go ahead, and this is the default schedule. If I want to go ahead and adjust the schedule, I'll adjust the schedule any of the cells. I could do based on seasonality, the rule of 78 for SaaS companies, or manually adjust just like I was doing it. I can also do some manual adjustments, and I could do the manual adjustments again based on manually adjusting the number, or using ramp profiles, and I can say based on productivity profile of a to be hired person in my role, right? This is the to be hired productivity profile. If I have no coverage right now in a given territory, assume that I'm not going to have coverage for the next 8 or 9 months. What would be the impact of ramp be on my ability to attain that number? So I'm putting all of that as part of adjustments on top of the number itself before I roll that out, right? Once I have the number, and I can distribute the number. In this case, what I did was I distributed the number based on a field. And what I did was it could be based on this field that I have a metric. I can say any metric that I want to pick up, I can say this is an account quota number. Right, and so where's my account deal size? I can do this account average deal size as a number, and I'll say fiscal year is 19. Right, I could go ahead and distribute the number. It was already distributed, so I'm redistributing the number, right? And the other piece that I could also do is when I'm giving the number, I can also give quota relief, right? So I can also model all the work that happens when people are going, if you have a policy for paternity or maternity or any long-term disability leave of absence, you want to give quota relief, and you can add those assumptions on relief as well. Once I do all of that, I can actually go ahead and do it. And the person who's now either in the lower nodes, the growth owner or the hunter owner, will get to see their number, and they will see that they have inherited a number. And what they get to see is when they inherited it, is they can distribute it either to the team below them, or they can do a roll up. Right, so roll up is all the bottom up, and I'll show that to you in a minute. But if I were to go down there and see the number, I see this is my bottoms up number. I can choose to distribute it to the team below me. This is how I've distributed it to the team below me and the Mexico, United States, and the unassigned bucket. I can ask for relief. I can say, this person, I need a relief in the month of, March, April on my territory because I expect somebody to go on maternity, and that person's number will be carried over and fed back into the overall model that this team is asking for relief in this segment, right? Once I'm done, I'm actually, going to, I can go back out here. I can do a roll up of a number. When I do a roll up of a number, what it's doing is I give a tops down number to the team. The team gave the bottoms up number. We saw the variances. I decided, I'm okay with the variance. I'll just do update the targets, and I'll now get the bottom up feedback out here, and it'll overwrite my initial tops down number. Or I can choose to still keep my default target, but still see, if I want to adjust the goal itself, or I want to adjust the schedule, I will adjust the schedule based on the feedback that I've gotten from the team, right? So this is what I'm doing at what I would say at a territory level, because that's where I'm assigning territory level targets, right? So what I'm seeing is these targets have been assigned and have been given to this territory, and now people who are assigned to that territory will be involved, and they'll carry that number as their quota. In this case, because it's a quota target, and they will all be the people, if they had access to the system, to come in and update their numbers and give me the feedback that I need. Similarly, if I have a tendency to sort of assign numbers to a person, then I would use team level targets, right? And the model here is identical. In this case, I have a team level target that I've assigned to the team itself. I have a revenue target that I can take a look at it. I can look at how it's been assigned to my team in Australia. They have a revenue target, and out here now my goal is I want to see both the tops down and bottoms up number, but I also want to see, when I'm doing the distribution here, I can enable person level targets, right? So what that means is all the stuff that we just did, we did the tops down versus bottoms up, and now I'm enabling it to be rolled down to a people level target. I can actually then see how the team is performing, right? Each individual rep, how they're performing against the target that they had. So this was the tops down number that they were given as a target, so tops down was the actuals. And if I want to go ahead, I can go ahead and update and adjust numbers for a given person, right? So we can set targets out here now at a team level, and we can add our targets based on productivity profiles. If you have a to be hired or a to be transferred or a to be replaced person, you can see their targets, right? And you can say, I want to put a to be hired target. This is how the to be hired person's target is going to be. So I'm factoring in the ramp over here when I assign a target to a person who's still not there in the territory. But essentially, what I'm going to do is allow the teams to have a rolled up view of a team level target, right? So this is the target module that you'll use, like I said, if you're assigning to individual people, not just a territory. Similarly, you can set product level targets as well. So this is when you have large product teams and product-based SKUs, you can go ahead and add targets on a product basis out here. And this would be a kind of, you can pick a role, and this could be the role is to a product owner or an account. I can put a sales manager picks it up, and for fiscal year 19. But essentially, the whole module will work identically the same way. So you got 5 minutes left. I'm just going to take a pause. I'm taking a look at the clock as well. And happy to answer any questions, comments, things that are just we've blown through this really fast. Like I said, This is a complicated process, and our endeavor has been to create a platform approach to really allow not just the setting of the targets, which is one thing, but creating the targets, assigning the targets, tracking capacity within those nodes, and then doing a bunch of other things for sales ops people, right? So this is the platform for essentially defining your entire go-to-market plan, right? And so target setting is a key element, and today we focus on target setting. In the subsequent demo sessions, I think we will cover each individual modules as well. So, Catherine, I'll turn this over to you if you have any questions here.
So one question that came in is, can you track sales reps' activities in this, or can you only track their quota numbers?
Oh, you can track activities as well. So activities would be another target.
Okay.
So whether it's, I want to track activities at a territory level, so I can give it for a territory. In your case, your question was sales rep. So in this case, it'd be a team target. So I'll assign a target to a team, and I'll have individual people being assigned over there. So I would come in over here, for example, and I'll add a new target, and this could be an activity target, for example, right? And I will say this is, I want to see it as a time series, or actually just scalar because it's an activity target, right? And I can say pick activities for fiscal year FY20, and it's assigned to a sales rep or a sales engineer, an account exec, whichever way you want to do it. These are, it's a split level target. I can set the goal, right? And I can set the goal out here to be, I need 200 calls to be made, right? And so that'll be the value. And I can distribute this to the team below. And I can say I want to distribute this equally if I want to, and save it. And so now what it'll do is it'll create a activity target that has to be managed for the team.
Okay, great. And then the other question is, how many teams can you measure, and do they all fall within revenue operations or revenue?
Any go-to-market team. So it could be sales, could be customer success. So it's totally customizable, right? We can add different stakeholders and different teams and assign them different targets. The idea here is that when you're thinking about account-based sales or account-based marketing, you have different people working on the same accounts or part of the same territory. And in a team module, I could have a customer success person, a salesperson, and a marketing person all aligned to a team, and they could carry a team target, or they could carry their own individual targets.
Awesome, that's an incredible feature. Great, well, I don't think there are any more questions that have come in. I don't know if it's easy to go back to the PowerPoint, but for people on the phone, I've shared Dharmesh's email and as well as mine. So if you're interested in learning about how this could work specifically for your team, especially if you are implementing, more revenue teams and ABM and ABS, we'd be happy to talk to you about that. So you can either access our Get Started link on our website to request a demo, but you're also welcome to reach out to Dharmesh specifically, and we're really excited to see if we can help you guys. So we have another demo coming up next week. We're going to be talking about coverages, so I'll be sending the link out to that to register, and as always, you'll get a recording of this in your inbox tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you, Catherine. And happy to answer any questions because this was a lot of stuff. We actually went really fast. Like we said earlier, target setting is a complicated process. Where we've seen this as a value is as companies are moving to adjusting quotas and adjusting numbers and revisiting them every quarter, right? Doing that out of Excel spreadsheets is actually quite cumbersome. And we found those organizations are looking to sort of adjust the targets for anything they want to measure more than just quota. So the number of targets, the number of dimensions, and the frequency as it increases, right? They kind of take advantage of the platform.
Great. All right. Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you online again soon.